We've got ourselves another time-sensitive project here. We're hoping to have this car ready for a wedding in just 3 weeks. Now this car has been in the same family since it was new up until this point, and it's been 44 years since it last ran. It's a pretty tight deadline, but we're going to do our best to make sure that this car is done in time for that wedding. Now since we already kind of had a walk around to this thing when they picked it up, I just want to point a few things out. There ain't a lick of trim missing on this whole car. And along with that, the windows are all there and in pretty good shape, other than this rear window here. And this car did run when they parked it away in that barn. They drove it in there and parked it. So it shouldn't be too big of a deal to get it going again. We'll have to see, you never know. But hopefully everything goes according to plan, because we're going to need that time to do other things. We've got a whole brand new interior we're going to be putting in this thing. This interior is complete, but it's pretty tore up. So we're hoping to be able to get that interior all nice and clean, get this thing running and driving as it should, and make it to the wedding. Now before we take a look under the hood, we'll peek in the trunk here. There's not much in here. Spare tire, bunch of junk. We'll get that all cleaned out. Nothing major. Not sure what that is. Oh wow, that thing is heavy. Still has the jack back here. Underside of the trunk lid, still looking pretty fresh. Let's go take a peek under the hood. Now I'm not gonna lie, it took me a minute to figure out how to open this hood. I was looking through the grill here, and it looks like there's a wire going into the wheel well. Now these folks rigged up a chunk of wood up here. This one right here. And if I pull on that, that pops the hood. So now we should be able to open this hood here. And that is a long hood. I believe this hood kind of pulls out a little bit, yeah. There we go. It's got this locking support here. Dual horns up front, sick. It looks like everything's here, even the old battery. Air filter's been pulled off. I believe that's in the cab there. Things are a little crusty in here, but it's complete. Got the glass windshield washer jar. Pretty neat. I'm sure it's going to be a real bear to get these spark plugs out, and I can already see this one here is going to be a problem for us. It's loose, and I don't think the threads are connected to it. I'm not going to pull it out because I want to shop back all this rat doo-doo out of there first. Is the carburetor linkage free? Oh yeah. Yeah, that still moves. That's good. Let's check that oil out a second. Oh yeah. That's looking great. And is there any coolant in here? Oh, there actually is. It's a little bit low, but I can see that there's coolant in it. So hopefully that means everything's holding. We should just be able to top it off. Now these cars usually came with a 3-speed transmission with the option of a fluid drive transmission, and that's what this one has. I believe that was an automatic transmission that was before automatic transmissions came around. Let's see if we can get it to turn here for us. Ooh, boy. It doesn't appear to be spinning free anymore. Uh-oh. Well, it looks like that's going to take a little bit of work. She's not spinning free right now. I might just throw a battery in it and see if the starter turns this thing over. It might just be that it's just caught up a little bit right now. At least that's what I'm hoping. Out with the old and in with the 8-volt. But before I put power to it, I'm going to suck up some of this junk because I don't want nothing going in the cylinders. also think it'd be best if I remove these plugs first. So I'm going to use a little bit of heat and penetrating fluid and see if we can get these things out of here. Man, it's scaring me. Boom. First one out. Yes. Oh, busted. Another one. Yep. That one came out. That one came out too. Nice. Okay, so three out of 6. Well, that's unfortunate. I now have 2 more that I need to extract along with that one. Kind of a bummer, but not much else we can do but just give her a whirl. That one came out fine, those 2, and then this one came out fine. Well, now technically, since all the plugs are out or there's nothing holding back compression, I have those 3 to extract, but before I do that, I think we're safe to say that we could probably try to turn this thing over. I got the battery hooked up. I'm gonna push the starter button and let's see if this thing actually does break free. Also, check this out. Horns work. Okay, here goes. Ooh. Okay, that's not good. She's not turning over, or at least the starter ain't turning her over. I might be able to put a 12 volts on here just to try to crank it a minute. You don't want to do that too long, and I know it's frowned upon, but it might be worth a shot. Like I said, I know this is frowned upon, but I know the old fellas down at the auction blocks with the 6-volt tractors, a lot of times they'll do this just for a second. See if they can get stuff spinning over. Whew. Ain't doing much. All right, that's about all I want to put to it for now. It's been a couple days of heating and penetrating fluid. I'm going to use an extractor tool here and see with an impact if we can get these spark plug threads out. Let's give it a whirl. Woo, that's in there. All right, had to do a couple more heat cycles and more penetrating fluid. Let's see if we can get her now. I might need to break out the air impact. Oh, there it goes. Yes, it's out. Wow. Let's see if the next one comes out. Now I've got those 2 spark plugs out. I'm still waiting on this last one. It's not budging. I've got pressure on it right now. It's an old trick I learned from somebody else. Put pressure on it like that overnight. Should work loose, we'll see. So while I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this radiator, give me better access to the crank pulley there. See if we can't get this thing spinning over. I don't know how heavy this thing is, but I got a ways to reach over this thing, so let's see if I can work this thing out. Oh boy. It doesn't feel light, I'll tell you that. There we go. Oh. And since we're waiting on that last plug to break free, we're gonna go ahead and throw a little bit of this Marvel in there. The rest of these cylinders to sit overnight before we start cranking on this thing. I'm hoping if I leave this overnight, it'll work that plug free. If not, we just keep trying, but at least now, since I got a little oil in the cylinders, I can start wrenching on the front here, hopefully tomorrow, and see if we can't get this thing spinning over. I finally got all of the plugs extracted. There's the 3 that were broken. 3 of them were still intact. It took probably 3-4 days just to get these out. Soaking, heating, using extractors. I busted that extractor off, had to remove it with a slide hammer. I busted another extractor, but I got it out before it busted all the way. And they ended up getting it out with this big bad boy on that last one. So now, since we've been soaking a little bit, I can finally move on to trying to get this thing to spin over. Now I've been wrestling with this motor for quite a few days now, trying to get this thing to break free. Yes, I do have a pipe wrench on the crank pulley there. Luckily the pulley is set back a ways, so it's not really touching nothing that's gonna mess anything up. But unfortunately this thing is just locked up tight. I've been putting Marvel mystery oil in the cylinders, PB blaster, all kinds of stuff to try to get this thing to loosen up, and it's just not breaking free. I'm probably gonna go ahead and pull this head a little bit later today, but I'm gonna take a break from this motor. I'm gonna start tackling the interior. In the trailer that you see behind us here, I've got all new interior for this thing. Just so I don't fall too far behind, I'm gonna try to get that done, or at least get this one cleaned out, see what's under those seats, wipe things down a bit, hopefully throw that new interior in, and at least then the interior of this thing will be clean and ready to go. Worst case scenario for this motor, we do have another motor in another car that we could possibly throw in here just to get it ready for the wedding, which is now only a week away. There's a lot of work to do yet. I took a little bit of time off to do that demo derby. I might be pulling some late nights trying to get this thing done. So here's what we're working with on the interior. We got to get these door panels off, and I believe that also includes this ring that goes around the window on every door. Yeah, it kind of holds the top of the door panels on. We'll have to figure out how to get all this stuff off. Try to get these seats out. It looks like they might be loose right now, so we'll be able to pull those out pretty quick, I think. Dash we're gonna leave alone. We're just gonna kind of clean it up. Front seat, let's see here. There's the bottom cushion. Oh boy. Whoo, there is some nasty stuff underneath here. And it looks like a bunch of extra parts. Got some weird $1 coins here. Non-negotiable $1. That's kind of funky. Like tokens or something. Got a wiper blade, a comb, dead rat, an extra 1/2-inch wrench. In the back seat, there we are. Oh man, that is nasty. And this seat is brittle. Looks like there was a lot of rats in this thing at one point. Well, I think at this point I need to get some gloves on We'll try to get the big stuff out and then do a little shop vac and see if we can get this carpet and then that rubber mat out of here. All I gotta do yet, I guess, is the doors, these back panels here. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that bad boy. He didn't make it. We'll put a new piece of carpet in here just to kind of clean up the back area a little bit. Now I'm a little nervous about pulling this headliner out. There was obviously rats or mice above it, but this one's got to come out regardless. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull her down. We'll have to do some cleanup. That'll pretty much complete the interior tear out. Oof. There we go. All right, so we got kind of a rough cleanup on the interior here. I think that's a good point for me to move back over to the motor here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this head off, see if we can't find anything else out about this motor. If I don't figure it out today, we got to maybe go pull another motor and throw it in here. All the bolts are out. Some of them were a bit of a pain, but I think we're ready to pull this head. Oh yeah, it's loose, so let's go ahead and pop this thing off. There it is. Now looking at the head, I'd have to say if I was to pick one cylinder that I think's holding it all up, yeah, it's the front one there, which is the one that had the busted spark plug right from the start. And if we go look at the engine here as well, most of them look fairly decent. And then you get to the front one here, and it is crusty. Well, unfortunately, I don't know if you guys noticed that when I was scanning back from the back here. Also, the piston in that one looks like it's pretty shot, crusty. Here's this one, not as bad as I expected. That one looks like it probably wouldn't be too bad. This one's also got a lot of rusty junk in there. That one's not too bad. And the back one here don't look too bad either. But that's a serious issue right there. And that's going to cause us some problems, I can guarantee you that. At this point, with a week left till the wedding, I'd almost say it'd be quicker to just throw that other motor in here. I'm going to probably send him a text today and see if I can go snag that thing one of the nights this week. So where we left off yesterday, we had pulled the head on this motor, found the broken valve, also still doesn't really turn over. And I managed to get some good news last night. The donor car is being brought over here today. I'm going to go ahead and flip this car around. As you can see behind us here, I moved everything out from behind it. We had the trailer with all the extra parts back there. Got everything moved out. I'm going to roll this thing back out, flip it around, and I want to make sure I'm nose to nose with the donor car. We're going to do an engine swap. It should be a brand new rebuilt engine in that other car. We're just going to take this one out, throw that one in. That's going to take way less time. Since we're on such a tight time crunch this week, it's just not worth our time trying to fiddle fart with this thing. I need something that's just going to be able to drop in and hopefully fire right off. We still got to go through the fuel system as well as the brakes. So we got a lot to do this week. Let's get this thing flipped around and let's start pulling this motor. The donor car is here. I hooked up a battery. I at least want to see if this thing spins over before I start pulling everything. I've already got the original motor pretty well unhooked, ready to come out. This one here should be a lot easier because this car is pretty much stripped bare. But let's go ahead and just jump the starter a second and see if this thing spins over. Oh, there we go. Yep, nice. Spins over real well. That's awesome. With this thing spinning over the way it does and looking the way it does, I have no doubt that this thing's probably going to fire off with no problems. Now we're all set up to pull, but I think I'm going to take this hood off first. This thing is very large and in charge, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. I got all the bolts out already. Let's just see if we can get it off of here. It'll give me way more room to be able to pull this motor out. All right, I think we got her. The engine is in and hooked up. At this point, the wedding is only 3 days away. So if we have any shot of making this deadline, we've got to throw a battery in here and see if we can get this thing fired up tonight. We've still got a lot to do, but that would be a huge weight off our shoulders. Obviously, I don't have the cooling system on yet. That doesn't take that long to throw together. Now again, we'll be using this 8-volt battery. It is a huge battery, but it gives us a little more cranking power than the 6-volt. There we are. Let's see, positive ground. Okay, let's start by seeing if it cranks over. Oh, the wipers work. Dude, no way. I'm not sure how to turn those off. Let's see here. Is that this? Oh, yep. It's a little knobby right on the dash. Okay, starter button. Yes. Okay, and I can hear compression. Let's do a quick light test. See if we're getting any fire to our plugs. Don't see any lights. Not knowing how long this thing's been sitting, I'm just going to go ahead and check the points on here. Maybe give them a little shave. Now I am getting some arcing between the body of the distributor and the points here. So that shows me that I do have power down here. I know I'm skipping a few steps here because I got to get a lot done today. But just to confirm, I did check all the fluids in the motor, the trans, everything, just to make sure that was all up to snuff. Oh, yep, these are dirty. Okay, let's give that another shot. Yes. Yep. We've got spark. Okay, we're in business. I've got a little fuel here. Let's just see if we can get this thing to fire off. real quick. Here goes. Woo! Feels like it might be in gear. Shouldn't be. So it's sounding like it wants to fire. I don't think we're far off here. Almost would like to shut that choke. Do a little bit like that maybe. Okay, here we go again. Man, I'd like to hear this thing fire a little longer. Woohoo! Okay, I think that's a pretty solid yes that it'll run. It seems like it's only really running if I get on the throttle, so we'll have to see. Maybe this carb's got some junk in it. Obviously it's firing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around back, drain that fuel tank, and we need to start cleaning out this fuel system and see if we can get fuel from the tank up to the carb here. Now, I've got this fuel tank drain cracked here, and I can smell it already. It stinks. I don't know how much fuel's in here, but we got to get it out of here. So I'm going to start draining it, and if it fills up my drain pan here, I'm going to have to throw that plug back in, and I guess I could just let it dribble like this, but I'd like to get the junk out of it if I could, if there is any junk in it, and I'm assuming there would be. So here goes nothing. Let's see if we can get this thing drained out, and then we'll do our patented if we do, and once we get it drained out, we'll do our patented blow the fuel line out to the front just to make sure it's all clear of debris. And hopefully then we'll be able to have a fuel system we can use. So here goes. Oh boy. Wow. Yeah, there's quite a bit in there. Let's see if I can keep the spray edge down to a minimum. Also, another thing that might be holding back the firing up is there's a lot of junk that came out of this exhaust pipe here. And I should have known because of all the junk that was in the cab and everything. Now I got the line free and clear from the tank here, kind of blowing where it's not going to get in anything. I'm going to blow from the front this way, so we'll see if we get any junk out of that thing. That worked great, and it looks like our line is free and clear. It didn't look like there was much junk in there at all. I'm just going to throw this back on. We're going to throw a little fuel in this tank and see if we can't get fuel up to the front. I'm going to dump a gallon or two in, make sure it ain't leaking out of my plug there anymore. And then we'll go turn that key, push the starter button, and see if we start getting fuel up front. That would be fantastic. I'm hoping that fuel pump is good, but we won't know yet until we try it. Now I'm going to go crank on it a little bit. I got the line unhooked. Let's see if we get fuel coming out of here. was really hoping we would see some fuel by now. Now I did figure out what was holding us up on the fuel system here. Back by the tank here, the pickup tube is plugged up with gummy junk. I'm trying to get it freed up. I'm soaking it in acetone, brake cleaner, whatever, with putting welding wire through it. See if we can get that freed up. If that doesn't work, we do have a spare tank in the donor car here. I should have just thrown that up there to start with, but I didn't know that was in the trunk here, so we may have to do that. We'll see. While I was waiting, I went ahead and started doing some steel wool on the hood here. We're going to see if we can get it kind of smoothed out a bit, get the roughness off of the body here. There's some bird droppings right there that never really came all the way out, and then we'll get it prepped for the boiled linseed oil. We're going to also want to do the rest of the body here, and I also went ahead and sprayed all of the bleeders at all four corners to see if we can get the brakes going. I'm going to have to just kind of jump from project to project here so I can get this thing done on time. So I've decided it's going to be a lot easier and quicker for me to pull this tank and put the other one in. I've just got this last strap right here. The other one busted. Yep, busted it. So I busted both of them. Okay, there it is. Now I went ahead and repaired our straps just with some all thread. Made sure it was long enough to go through the floor. We should be good to go. I'm going to throw those up, get this tank up there, and then we can proceed with seeing if we can get fuel up to the front. All right, in we go. Well, new fuel tank's in with a couple gallons of fuel in it. Let's give this another go. That took a lot longer than I hoped, but let's see what we can get out of here. Hopefully this one flows. Let's find out. Come on, baby. Yeah. Woo. With that, I would have thought we'd see fuel by now. Man, I'm getting a little worried now. Oh yeah, we're getting fuel. Yes. Okay, we got fuel coming out. Now I can hook this line up with the filter back to the carb. Let's see if we can get this puppy running on its own. Okay, fuel up to the carb. Let's see what we get here. Okay. Seems like it's getting way too much fuel. Spitting fuel out the carb there. If I let off I got the throttle all the way, and if I let off, it just dies. Doesn't sound like it's firing on all of them. I'm going to switch over the brakes. I got to get these brakes bled out. Let's see if we can do that in a minute. I'm not sure how much more I'm going to be able to get done today, but I'd at least like to get the brakes done and maybe see if the rear tires move, but I guess I got to get it running a little better to do that. So on to the brakes. Surprisingly enough, this pedal seems to be coming around and is pushing fluid out towards the rear wheels. I was borderline toying with the idea of actually pulling the master out of the donor car as well, and I really did not want to do that. So hopefully this all works out. So far it's bleeding. The brakes actually bled out real well until this rear wheel cylinder started leaking. So we're gonna have to tackle that, but for now, I gotta get this motor running better. What I did is I'm suspecting the exhaust to be plugged up. I unhooked the exhaust for now. I'm gonna see if I can fire this thing back up, see if it stays running for us. Here's to hoping. Wow. It's the exhaust. Oh man, that's all it was the exhaust. This thing fired right up. That is great. I do want to check the transmission works a second. Let me throw it in gear. I got the back end off the ground. Let's see if those wheels turn. Nothing on this side. Oh, yes. Yes. We got gears. Let's turn it off because I need to get a coolant system on it. But man, that is great. All that was a plugged exhaust. And all I did was unhook it right here at the collector. I'm not really sure how I'm going to tackle that. I'm assuming it's going to be right where this muffler is. I guess I could just tear it off and throw a new one on. I'll have to see what I have here. We're back at it today. 2 more days left till the wedding. Today my plan is to try to tackle this body. I'm gonna roll it outside. It's supposed to start raining tomorrow, so I'd like to get this whole body scuffed down, get it back in here so it can dry out. Then I can apply the linseed oil. I do have to tackle the brakes yet. I have decided I am gonna take the parts off that donor rig. I'm gonna try to replace this wheel cylinder, and it looks like my master is also leaking, so I'm probably gonna have to replace that as well. Thankfully, most of those parts are in the donor rig. It's just gonna be kind of a pain to get them out, but that's all right. I also, since I'm not gonna be using the headliner, I don't think, I'm gonna go ahead and paint the roof here, get it kind of clean looking. It is pretty clean, but I wanna get a coat of paint on it so it kind of makes it look a little nicer. Hopefully, if I can finish the brakes today, that only leaves the interior for tomorrow. And I think I should be able to knock that out, no problem. I'm gonna start by getting this interior kind of cleaned out a bit, and then we're gonna roll it outside and start scuffing. Just giving her a little coat of satin black. Before I roll this thing outside, I think I'd like to throw this hood back on. And I mean, technically it does run and drive. I might as well go ahead and throw some coolant in here. Let's just see if we can move this thing out under its own power after I put this hood on. And then at that point, we'll start the scuffing process. Okay, and a little coolant here. Now I do have to change the oil yet as well. I'm thinking I'll do that last. I'm not going to run it much, and it's getting trailered to the wedding, so I'm probably going to need all the way right up till they pick it up to get this thing done. All right, let's get this hood shut and see if we can get this thing fired up and ready to pull out. Woo, the horns work. All right, so she needs a little work yet. Oop. Now it's starting to rain, so I'm gonna get right to scuffing. I'm just using SOS pads, quad-aught steel wool. I've already gone over the hood a little bit, but I'd like to go over it a little bit more. I'm just gonna go to town, we got to get this thing done, back in the garage and drying up. It's really not knocking down as much as I thought it would on the fenders here. There was a bunch of bird droppings here on the hood and on the fender, and it did eat up the metal a little bit. But we're just gonna do a down and dirty job and see what we can pull off here. It's coming around, it's pretty pitted, but the chrome actually looks pretty decent, and once we get some boiled linseed oil on this body, it might actually make it really pop. Well, we got her all scuffed down. I'm gonna let her drip dry for a few. I think it'll look pretty good. So once it dries out a little bit, we'll roll it back in. Rust Daddy down here doing some exhaust work. What do you find there, boy?
Muffler's full of some type of nuts or something.
Oh my goodness.
Are those almonds?
Thank goodness we picked up a new muffler today. All right, new muffler's going in. It looks like the downpipe also had junk in it. Keeps coming out. Oh man, no way. What the world? Wow, are you kidding me?
That's just the downpipe.
That is wild. You might want to blow that out with some air, huh?
Rust wranglers down there, blowing pipes. That came out so far. Go ahead.
Okay, we got a new muffler in there. I just kind of pipe clamped it on. I don't really want to do any welding tonight, so let's go ahead and see if this thing fires up with that new exhaust on there. Turn the key on. Push the starter button. Yes! Fires right up. Man, this thing runs great. Make sure there's air coming out of the tailpipe. Oh yeah. Yep. We're looking good. Okay, time to tackle the brakes. Now I already removed this drum. These usually require a puller, but the drum is held onto the hub by these little rivets. I just shaved the rivets off. I already got the cylinder out. That's the bad cylinder. We're gonna go steal the cylinder out of the donor car out there and replace that. And then I'm also gonna steal the master cylinder for in here out of the donor car. Let's see if we can get these brakes done and make sure they don't leak. Successfully removed our wheel cylinder from the donor car. Let's throw this in here. That should take care of all of our leaks at the wheel. And at that point, then we can move on to the master. All right, there we go. Now I managed to successfully pull the master out of our donor car. And this one shouldn't be any different. When I came out this morning, this one was dry, so it's just leaking like a sieve. Let's get this one ripped out, throw our donor in, and see if we can re-bleed these brakes. All right, there's the old one. And the donor is going in. Back to bleeding now. Fingers crossed it works this time with no leaks. Let's see how she goes. Well, I got good news. The brakes bled out beautifully actually, and there doesn't appear to be any leaks. So I think we're good there. It's time to move on to getting this interior wrapped up, but it's getting really late. I think it's about 12:30 or 1 a.m. right now. So I think I might call it a night. Tomorrow's the last day I have to work on this thing, so we have to get this thing finished up. Really, all I have to do yet is get this interior done and put the linseed oil on the body, and that's about it. Well, it is officially the last day that I have to work on this thing. They want to pick this thing up either today or tomorrow morning. I did end up changing the oil last night before I headed in. Today, basically, I've just got to wrap up things on the interior and put the boiled linseed oil on the body here. I've got mixed feelings about the boiled linseed oil. From what I can tell, it gets kind of tacky, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm just going to make sure I cut it down with mineral spirits, and we'll see how it turns out. I think I'm going to start with that because I'd like it to soak in a little bit before it has to leave the shop here. That's not too bad. I think these fenders may take a little more material. The doors still have some paint on them, just to kind of show what that's going to look like. I'll do a test spot here. So you just kind of, it's a lot more glossy and just wipes on it like that. I think this is going to turn out awesome. I'm going to go ahead and apply this and we'll see how it looks when I'm finished. And there's finished product. Turned out awesome. Hopefully it's not too sticky for the wedding. It is raining outside, so I don't know if this will wash off at all. I think it stays pretty decent because it's an oil, but it actually looks pretty good. I like how it turned out, and now I need to put all my attention into getting this interior wrapped up. So I'm pretty happy with this. Let's get that interior done, and then it's time to throw a different set of wheels on here.
Because he had an iPhone, but he couldn't figure it out, so he went back to the
He has a more top of the line, better one than I have, and that's almost impossible.
I used to have, so you used to have the one that opened up. He doesn't have that anymore. I'll be there in a while. Yeah. That's on the one that was there.
Here we go. And this. Not bad. Nice piece to the puzzle. Well, there you have it. I got to do a little cleanup yet, wipe things down. This carpet was definitely not meant for this. It was just a chunk of carpet that they had in here. We tried to make it work. It's decent. Seats look pretty good. It's at least clean in here. Door cards, nice and clean. I used the window insert from the donor car as well because they're cleaner. I'll just have to wipe them down and kind of clean all the dust off. But turned out pretty good. They're coming to pick it up early in the morning. So basically just cleaning at this point. She runs great. All I gotta do is swap the tires out yet, which we'll do here in a minute. And that'll be about it. I'll set this thing on the ground and hopefully drive it out of here onto the trailer. And it's time to put some wheels on this thing. We got the white walls. I think they're gonna look pretty good.
And then build a full, do it with like,
so we're just doing a little testing here. Both tail lights are working. Headlights are working. Both of them. And we got dash lights as well.
And it's charging.
How crazy is that? And it's charging. Oil pressure gauge is working. Fuel gauge is working because that's about how much fuel I had in there. Also, that is awesome. I cannot believe that. It doesn't look like it's ever been used.
No, it's cleaner than the whistle.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. This thing turned out awesome. I love the way the white walls look on this thing. The clear coat look just sets this thing off. I don't love the stickiness of this boiled linseed oil, but that's just part of the deal, I guess, and we'll just have to be careful with it. This thing runs like an absolute top. Everything just seemed to start working as we got through it here. All the lights work now. The blower motor works for the heater. Windshield wipers work. Horn works. All the gauges work. The only thing that really doesn't work, but it does have a little static, is the radio. Now they're on their way to pick this thing up right now. I'm hoping to get some pictures of it at the wedding, or maybe a little bit of footage. I didn't really get a chance to drive this thing. I might just putz it around the yard here a minute before they get here. Regardless, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, like the video, throw me a comment. Well, she's driving. All right, so I'm just stabbing her on the road here for a minute. She does seem to drive pretty well. Floats pretty good. This thing is cool. Okay, so there you go in the daylight. She runs pretty well. Stops pretty well. Drives pretty well. Not too bad. It looks great. Love the way it turned out. Hopefully they like it. We're gonna be loading up here in just a minute. Sending it on its way. Wedding bound. We made it. One thing I don't know if I mentioned was in the glove box here, there's actual wedding invitations. And there's names on here, so I won't show too much, but these are wedding invitations from 1974. And they've been in this glove box this whole time. They're absolutely pristine. There's a couple of them in there. And now this thing's headed off to another wedding. How cool is that? All right, there she goes. See you at the wedding. Look at that.